Good morning, everyone. I want to start with a question. Have you ever walked away from an interaction with someone and felt off? Maybe you couldn't put your finger on it, but something wasn't right. Your stomach twisted, your energy drained, and your confidence took a hit. Most of us have been taught to see the good in people. We give second chances. We excuse bad behavior because we assume deep down that everyone means well. But what if I told you that not everyone does? There are people in this world who operate from a place of deep cruelty. Not just selfishness or insecurity, but something darker. They don't just make mistakes, they cause harm on purpose. And when we fail to recognize them for what they are, we leave ourselves vulnerable to their damage. Have you ever walked away from a conversation with someone and felt an uneasy knot in your stomach? Maybe their words sounded right, but something in their tone, their body language, or the energy they carry didn't sit well with you. That feeling, that subtle whisper inside you, is your intuition trying to warn you. From the moment we are born, our brains are wired to detect danger. It's an ancient survival mechanism built through generations of human experience. But in today's world, we often silence it. We rationalize. We tell ourselves we're overreacting. We think, maybe I'm misunderstood. Maybe I'm just being sensitive. But here's the truth. Your instincts are rarely wrong. When you're dealing with someone truly harmful, your body often knows before your mind can fully process it. You might notice subtle shifts. Your energy drains after every interaction. You feel small or inadequate around them, or you constantly second-guess yourself in their presence. Even those aren't coincidences, those are signals. Evil people are skilled at manipulating emotions. They play mind games, twist the truth, and make you doubt your own perceptions. And if they succeed in making you question yourself, they gain control. That's why trusting your gut isn't just important, it's essential. So how do you strengthen that trust? Listen to discomfort. Instead of brushing off feelings of unease, pause and examine them. Ask yourself, why did that comment make me feel small? Why do I feel anxious around this person? Watch for patterns. One bad moment doesn't define a person, but repeated behavior does. If you constantly feel uneasy around someone, that's not paranoia, that's a pattern. Don't let guilt override your intuition. Sometimes we ignore red flags because we don't want to seem judgmental or unkind, but protecting your peace isn't unkind, it's necessary. The best decision you will ever make is learning to trust yourself. Because when you do, you take away their power before they ever have a chance to use it. Manipulation isn't just a bad habit, it's a weapon. And for truly harmful people, it's their sharpest tool. They don't get what they want through honesty or integrity. They get it by twisting reality, controlling narratives, and making you question what's true. The scariest part, manipulation isn't always obvious. It's subtle, slow, and calculated. It doesn't start with a blatant lie. It starts with small distortions, half-truths, and strategic omissions. Before you even realize what's happening, you're second-guessing yourself, apologizing for things that weren't your fault, and adjusting your behavior to avoid their disapproval. How manipulative people operate. They twist reality. Ever had a conversation where you know what was said, but somehow the other person completely denies it? That's gaslighting, one of the most insidious forms of manipulation. A harmful person will look you in the eye and say, I never said that, you're imagining things, or you're being too emotional. Over time, you start doubting your own memory and judgment, making it easier for them to control the narrative. They play the victim no matter what happens. It's never their fault. If they hurt you, it's because you made them do it. If they get caught in a lie, they'll turn the tables and make you feel guilty for doubting them. Manipulative people know that sympathy is a powerful tool, and they will use it to make you feel responsible for their actions. They guilt trip you. After everything I've done for you, this is how you treat me? That's classic emotional blackmail. A manipulator will remind you of every favor they've ever done, every sacrifice they've made, whether real or exaggerated, to make you feel like you owe them. And when you feel indebted, it's easier for them to control you. They give backhanded kindness. Sometimes manipulation doesn't look like cruelty. It looks like help. They might say things like, I'm only doing this because I care about you, or I just want what's best for you. But somehow their help always makes you feel powerless, dependent, or incapable. That's because their kindness isn't real. It's just another way to keep you under their influence. They shift the goalposts. Just when you think you've met their expectations, the target moves. You did what they asked, but now they want more. You apologize, but now they demand another apology. No matter what you do, it's never enough. Because they don't want resolution, they want control. How to protect yourself: trust what you see, not what they tell you. If their words and actions don't match, believe the actions. Keep records. If you suspect manipulation, document conversations, texts, and events. It's harder to gaslight someone who has proof. Stop explaining yourself. Manipulative people thrive on making you justify, defend, and over-explain. Set boundaries and hold them. Recognize that you are not responsible for their emotions. You don't owe them constant validation, endless chances, or your peace of mind. Manipulation is designed to strip you of your confidence, your autonomy, and ultimately your power. The best way to fight back: see it for what it is and refuse to play their game. Empathy is the glue that holds human relationships together. It's what allows us to connect, to understand each other, and to repair damage when mistakes are made. It's what makes us human. But here's the unsettling truth: not everyone has it. Some people lack empathy entirely, and that's not just a personality flaw, it's a danger sign. Because when someone can't feel the pain they cause, there is no limit to the damage they will do. They don't care about right or wrong. They don't care if they hurt you. And worst of all, they won't change. The difference between selfishness and a lack of empathy: we all have moments of selfishness. We all get caught up in our own struggles and fail to notice when we've hurt someone else. But here's the difference. When a healthy person realizes they've caused pain, they feel guilt. They want to make amends. They change their behavior. A person without empathy, they don't. They might fake remorse when it benefits them, but they don't actually feel it. They don't experience that internal discomfort that makes the rest of us stop, reflect, and do better. And that means they are capable of repeated intentional harm without a second thought. Signs of someone who lacks empathy: they minimize your feelings. When you try to express pain, they dismiss it. They tell you you're overreacting. They make fun of you for being too sensitive. Instead of listening, they shut you down because your feelings simply don't matter to them. They never take responsibility. A lack of empathy goes hand in hand with a lack of accountability. If they hurt you, they'll blame you for it. If you call them out, they'll say you're the problem. They will do anything to avoid facing the consequences of their actions because they don't feel guilt or shame the way a normal person would. They enjoy watching others struggle. This is a hard one to accept, but some people actually take pleasure in watching others suffer. Maybe they mock people who are struggling. Maybe they create chaos just to see how people react. If you notice someone repeatedly laughing at others' pain or causing harm without remorse, don't ignore that sign. They lack genuine compassion. When someone around them is hurting, they don't show real concern. They might pretend to care when it benefits them, but their words feel hollow. They don't offer comfort. They don't put themselves in the other person's shoes. They either ignore suffering or exploit it. They show no remorse. When a normal person realizes they've hurt someone, they feel guilt, They apologize sincerely and make an effort to change. A person without empathy either doesn't apologize at all or gives a fake, manipulative apology that shifts blame onto you. The danger of staying in their orbit, a person without empathy can do extreme damage, both emotionally and mentally. They don't care how their words or actions affect you, which means they will keep hurting you as long as you let them. And because they don't feel guilt, you will never get the closure or accountability you deserve. The worst mistake we can make is assuming that everyone must have a conscience, that deep down they must care. Some people don't. And when we refuse to accept that truth, we leave ourselves open to endless harm. How to protect yourself. Stop expecting them to care. They won't. And that's not your fault, it's just who they are. Don't try to make them see your side. They won't suddenly develop empathy because you explain your pain more clearly. Watch their actions, not their words. Some of the most harmful people say all the right things but never back it up. Believe what they do, not what they say. Set firm boundaries. The less access they have to you, the less power they have to hurt you. The hardest lesson in life is realizing that some people don't have the emotional depth we assume they do. But once we see them clearly, we can make one of the most powerful decisions of all, to walk away. This is the hardest truth to accept. Some people don't just hurt others by accident or out of carelessness. They actually enjoy it. They thrive on conflict. They feel energized by the suffering of others. And the worst part, they often hide it so well that by the time you realize what they are, the damage has already been done. Most of us assume that people are fundamentally good, that deep down everyone has a conscience, and that when someone hurts us, they must feel bad about it. But that's not always true. Some people feel nothing at all when they inflict pain. Some people enjoy watching others suffer, not because they were hurt in the past, not because they are misunderstood, but simply because they like it. And those are the most dangerous people of all. How to recognize someone who enjoys hurting others. They love pushing your buttons. They know exactly what to say to make you feel small, to embarrass you, or to make you doubt yourself. And they don't do it by accident. It's deliberate. They study you. They figure out your insecurities, your fears, and your emotional triggers, and then they use them against you. They create drama for fun. A normal person avoids unnecessary conflict. A malicious person creates it just to watch it unfold. They stir the pot, spread rumors, and pit people against each other, all while pretending to be innocent. And when everything explodes, they sit back and enjoy the show. They mock your pain. Have you ever opened up to someone about something painful only to have them laugh it off? That's not just insensitivity, it's cruelty. A person who enjoys harming others might pretend they're just joking, but deep down, they know exactly what they're doing. They find amusement in your suffering because to them, it's a source of power. They act differently when no one is watching. To the outside world, they might seem charming, friendly, even caring. But behind closed doors, it's a different story. They drop the act and their real nature comes out. If someone is sweet in public but cruel in private, believe the private version. That's who they truly are. They exploit others' weaknesses instead of helping others when they're struggling. They take advantage of the situation. If someone is emotionally vulnerable, they manipulate them. If someone is physically weak, they dominate them. If someone is financially struggling, they exploit them. They see vulnerability as an opportunity, not something to protect. Why do they enjoy hurting others, you might ask yourself. Why would anyone enjoy causing harm? It doesn't make sense to people who have empathy. But for someone who lacks it, hurting others gives them a sense of power. Watching someone break down makes them feel superior. Control over others. When people fear them or try to please them, they feel in charge. Emotional entertainment, they find amusement in chaos, suffering, and emotional reactions. A way to mask their own emptiness. Many cruel people are deeply hollow inside. Instead of dealing with that, they project their pain onto others. But here's the truth. Their reasons don't matter. What matters is recognizing what they are and protecting yourself from them. How to protect yourself from malicious people? Stop making excuses for them. If someone repeatedly hurts you, it's not a mistake, it's a pattern. Distance yourself. You don't have to argue, explain, or fix them. You just have to remove yourself from their reach. Trust what you see. If someone enjoys causing harm, believe them the first time. Don't play their game. The moment you react emotionally, they win. Stay calm, walk away, and don't feed their need for control. One of the biggest mistakes we make is assuming that everyone has good intentions. Some people don't. And the moment you recognize that, you take away their greatest weapon, your belief in their goodness. When people think of toxic or evil individuals, they often imagine blatant cruelty, yelling, insults, or even physical aggression. But the most dangerous manipulators don't always operate that way. Instead of attacking you outright, they slowly take control of your life. And their most powerful tactic? Isolation. The moment they can cut you off from your support system, your friends, your family, the people who truly care about you, is the moment they have total power over you. Because once you are alone, there's no one left to remind you of the truth. And that's exactly what they want. How they isolate you and gain control. They create doubt about the people in your life. They don't start by telling you to cut people off. That would be too obvious. Instead, they plant seeds of doubt. Are you sure your friend really cares about you? Your family never supports you the way I do. I just don't think that person has your best interests at heart. Slowly, you begin questioning the people who love you. You start to see them differently, not because of any real problem, but because someone else wants you to. They make themselves your only source of support. At first, they might act like the most loving, understanding person in your life. They'll say things like, I'm the only one who really understands you. I'll always be here for you, unlike them. You don't need anyone else. You have me. This makes you emotionally dependent on them. And when you feel like they're your only safe place, you're far less likely to leave, even when they start hurting you. They cause drama with others. Sometimes they'll go beyond just planting doubt and actively create conflict between you and your loved ones. They'll lie and say, your friend was talking badly about you. They'll start fights with your family, then tell you, see, they don't really love you. They'll demand you take sides, forcing you to choose between them and everyone else. And if they succeed, you'll find yourself completely alone, with only them left in your corner. They control your time and decisions. Once you're isolated, the control deepens. They want to know where you are at all times. They get angry when you spend time with others. They make you feel guilty for doing things without them. What starts as concern quickly becomes possessiveness, and before you know it, every move you make is dictated by them. They use fear to keep you from leaving. When they sense you pulling away, they escalate their control. They might threaten you. If you leave, you'll regret it. They might guilt trip you. After everything I've done for you, this is how you treat me. They might make you feel worthless. No one else will ever care about you like I do. They break down your confidence so you feel too weak to leave, even though leaving is exactly what you need to do. Why they do this? Toxic and controlling people isolate you because they know they can't control you otherwise. As long as you have other perspectives, other sources of love and support, their manipulation won't work. But once they cut you off from everyone else, they become the only voice in your life. And that's when they can do the most damage. How to break free from their control. Recognize their tactics. The moment you realize they're isolating you, you've taken the first step toward breaking free. Reconnect with the people you trust. Even if they made you doubt your friends and family, reach out. The people who truly love you will still be there. Set firm boundaries. You don't owe them explanations, second chances, or your time. Take back your freedom. Don't let fear keep you stuck. They'll try to convince you that you can't survive without them, but you can. And once you break free, you'll see just how much stronger you really are. The biggest lie controlling people tell you is that you need them. The truth, they need you to stay small so they can feel powerful. But you were never meant to be small. And the moment you realize that is the moment their control ends. If there is one thing toxic, manipulative, and downright evil people hate, it's boundaries. Why? Because boundaries take away their control. Boundaries send a clear message. I decide what is allowed in my life, not you. And for someone who thrives on manipulation, that's the last thing they want to hear. But here's the truth. Your boundaries are your power. They are the invisible shield that protects your mental, emotional, and even physical well-being. They are the difference between being a victim of toxic behavior and standing in your own strength. The stronger your boundaries, the harder it is for harmful people to get close to you. And once you master the art of setting and enforcing boundaries, you become someone who is nearly impossible to manipulate. What boundaries really are and what they aren't. A boundary is not a way to control someone else. It's a way to control your own space, time, and energy. A boundary is saying, I won't allow people to speak to me with disrespect. A boundary is not saying you're not allowed to say mean things. That's a demand, not a boundary. A boundary is saying, if you continue to raise your voice at me, I will leave the conversation. A boundary is not saying you have to stop yelling. You can't control others, only yourself. Boundaries are about you, what you will accept, how you will respond, and what you will remove from your life. They are not about forcing others to change. How evil people react to boundaries, not everyone will respect your boundaries, and that's actually a good thing. Why? Because how people respond to your boundaries tells you everything you need to know about them. Healthy people respect them. When you set a boundary with someone who genuinely cares about you, they may not always understand it at first, but they will honor it. They want you to feel safe and comfortable. Toxic people get angry. They will push back, guilt trip you, and try to make you feel bad for standing up for yourself. Why? Because boundaries make it harder for them to manipulate you. Manipulative people will test them. Instead of outright rejecting your boundary, they may pretend to accept it, only to subtly push against it later. They'll see how much they can get away with, hoping you'll back down. This is why enforcing your boundaries is just as important as setting them. If you set a boundary but don't follow through when someone crosses it, they will learn that your boundaries are weak. And they will continue to push them. Types of boundaries you must set to protect yourself, emotional boundaries. You are not responsible for managing someone else's emotions. You do not have to justify your feelings or decisions to anyone. You do not have to tolerate disrespect just because someone is having a bad day. Time and energy boundaries. You do not have to answer every call or text immediately. You are allowed to say no without feeling guilty. You do not owe anyone your time simply because they demand it. Physical boundaries. Your body is your own, and you decide who has access to it. If someone makes you uncomfortable with touch, comments, or closeness, you have every right to remove yourself. You are not obligated to hug, shake hands, or physically interact with anyone if you don't want to. Mental boundaries. You are allowed to have your own thoughts, beliefs, and opinions, even if others don't agree. You do not have to engage in conversations that make you feel unsafe or drained. You do not have to defend yourself against manipulation or gaslighting. How to enforce boundaries with toxic people. Setting a boundary is one thing. Enforcing